Hello, and welcome. So the beta is over. As one of very few privileged testers, I got to play from before it opened till it ended, and I'm super happy to share my comments and thoughts with you guys. So let's get to it. Now quickly, before we do begin, I have some gameplay of mine running in the background, but unfortunately I lost a lot of my early game stuff due to recording issues. I'm a stupid ape that forgot to press record. But hopefully my voice and some higher level clips can keep your attention while we discuss Citadel Forged with Fire, the beta. So I had an absolute whale of a time. When you first spawn in, you start in one of 3 protected spawn zones. I started in the middle because I wanted to explore the whole map. In all of the spawn zones you can't build or be damaged there. When you first get in, it is a tad overwhelming however, and the tutorial system isn't all that helpful. It's just a set of blue rocks that give you a tiny tooltip, but they don't really teach you much at all. I'd really like to see a quest-like tutorial system that would really help new players with building their first weapon, constructing their first house. Stuff like that I think will really make this game more accessible to more casual players. Straight out the gate, into the forest, and boom. A bear, level 6. I'm level 1. I don't know if this is intended, but I really think there need to be weaker enemies around the spawn. New players are going to find enemies super tough to kill till they level up to the higher levels. However, I was with my friend, and after kiting it around for a few minutes, we did manage to take it down. I'm not very impressed with the AI, however. Not only are the bears and wolves and most creatures bar orcs pretty damn slow, you can easily safe spot them. However, they will chase you the whole way across the map. We went out on broomsticks to the far north, accidentally aggroed some dragons, and they followed us all the way back to the low level area. Jeez. So, on to building then. I love the building system, but again there's no tutorial on it. It's quite intuitive when you get going, but loads of people just didn't know how to use it. I really think they need to make this so much clearer. However, there were some bugs with the building and the beta, with everything glowing and not showing up properly till you relog, so let's really hope that gets fixed, because I love building. I would spend the whole game just making a castle. However, with the bugs, that just made that really unfun, so I just had to go around bopping things with swords instead. Not a bad thing, but I would have preferred to get more building done. So we decided to build around one of the natural mana pools, as unlimited mana early game is a pretty big advantage. Mana doesn't regenerate on its own, so you either need to eat plants, stand in a mana pool, or drink potions. So by having the mana pool we could just always regenerate our mana, which was really cool. There's also natural spawning health pools and natural spawning acid pools. You don't want to go in them. So, after a while of building, some other players actually came and joined us, and rather than in most games where they just come and blow up your house, we made a little community and had loads of different constructs made by different players around the mana pool. That was sweet. I really enjoy it when players come together to make something interesting, and when the full game releases, I'm going to look to get a group of players, and we're going to make a town, and that would be sweet. Building also gives you a huge amount of XP, and I believe every new player should go straight from the spawn, go gather some sticks, and start building a home. Not only then do you get shelter, you're also going to get up to level 5 super fast, and that is a big level. At level 5 you learn the spell Extraction. That allows you to magically gather materials, and it's an absolute lifesaver. It makes everything feel so much quicker, it makes the game feel so much less grindy, and is an efficient and welcome breath of fresh air from just gathering sticks on the ground. Now, let's talk magic. The spell effects lived up to my expectations and looked awesome. However, some weapons were clearly weaker than others. I really wanted to use the gauntlets, but everyone and their nan was using staffs because of their high damage, high range, and a mana boost on top of that. The gauntlets are just awful, they do no damage, and they have no other plus sides, and I really hope that gets changed. Wands were really cool, with good utility and decent damage, but the real winner here is the melee weapons. I switched over to melee when I wanted to level, and god damn, not only do they do a huge amount of damage and a knockback effect, they also give you a health boost. By level 20, I had nearly 400 health, was able to kill dragons in under 10 hits. That's nuts. Other spells are really cool to see too. Haste is a must grab. It makes you incredibly quick, and there's other buff spells that are good too. I'm also really excited to see what players come up with in spell combinations. I found that haste with melee was really good because it allowed me to avoid ranged attacks, but also get in close and start hitting things and doing huge damage. I did also one-shot a player with it, by accident-ish? Let's talk the world. Now, when I was leveling, I explored a huge amount of the map. At level 10 you unlock broomsticks and I went north. The further north you go, the harder it becomes, which I think is really cool. It gives you a very easy sense of difficulty and progression. Further north you go, the more likely you are to die. You'll also encounter some seriously dangerous enemies, from Balrog looking creatures to super high level demonic inks, high level dragons, so you've really got to be careful. The map is gorgeous. I do wish there wasn't such a huge lack in focus when you're looking out over long distances though, as it really takes away from the detail of the world and the sense of scale. I hope that's something that will change, but we'll see. There's also some places you can see but can't go, which is a bit of a shame. There's huge statues far to the north that I was super excited to get up and take some screenshots and really see what that was all about. However, there was an invisible wall that stopped us from going on there. Maybe later on they'll expand the map and add these uncharted territories that they talked about, and I'm really excited to see if they do. The natural caves and dungeons they have are okay. I find them a bit boring. I use them just to find high level enemies to punch in the face and get some XP from, but the loot was mostly pointless over the one-day event. The caves themselves are quite linear, and I'd really like to see them go in more of a Skyrim direction, with dungeons being unique, giving them traps and puzzles, and making them far more expansive, maybe even group dungeons that you can only do with your friends. So, I've mentioned leveling a fair bit, and yes, it is a bit of a grind. When you don't really know what you're doing, it can take ages. However, there are much quicker ways to level up than others. But I think having a good weapon, taking on lots of mobs, is a great way. As is building a ginormous base, as is crafting. It's when you're sort of running around aimlessly, half-arsing it, it takes forever. The one gripe I have is that there really isn't anything to do between tiers, and sometimes you get stuck without enough stuff to use. For example, when building the base, I built the majority of it, and I was unlocking all the gadgets and structures for the group to use. Now that really screwed me, because using all my knowledge points on those meant I didn't have points to learn new spells or unlock new weapons, which really put me behind the curve when it came to leveling. Now, when talking tiers, I mean the progression tiers. Every 5 levels you unlock new stuff, but the levels between them you don't get anything new, you just get extra knowledge points and stat boosts. This is just my opinion though, but I'd really love to see some more interesting interactions during those levels. Okay, so let's talk taming. So at level 10 you unlock a spell called Pacify. You cast that onto a creature with a beam-like lock-on effect, and after a while they become passive. Now, when they're passive, you can walk up to them and press E. When you press E, you can name them and they become yours for an hour. You can craft extra things to put into the inventories that increase that duration, but currently it was just an hour. Taming during the beta looked overpowered, but it really wasn't. There was no real way to control your pet other than having him follow or stay and hit things in a very, very small vicinity, and the poor AI made them useless more times than not. It's also super easy to tame a level 60 dragon when you're level 10, which I think is a bit silly. Maybe that's stuff that could be added to a tier list. At later tiers you can untame different creatures. I myself didn't do much taming, as I just viewed it as a waste of XP, so I murdered things instead. Okay, so let's go over what I think are the pros and the cons. So let's talk pros. The graphics are gorgeous, the textures are great, the VFX are great, the more unique mobs are really cool and interesting looking, and I just really love how everything looks. It's got a great crafting system, it's simple, it's intuitive, and it works really well. The gameplay is also super refreshing, which is something new, and it's really what the genre needed. The spells are also great, they're really fun to use, and they look really good. I was also really surprised at how well the beta ran. Previous beta tests I've been in have left me wanting. They haven't worked well, servers have gone down all the time, and it was just generally an unpleasant experience. However, the servers went down once or twice, but they were always up really quick, and most of the time it was a super stable experience. So thank you so much, Blue Owl Studios, for making it great. It's not all sunshine and daisies though. There are some problems with the game. The tutorial content is poor. It's difficult for new players to get attuned to what they need to do, and I really think they need to work on that. The AI also needs some work. Combat isn't very challenging, especially when you've got the knockback melee weapon, as enemies just run at you. Even hunter orcs who have crossbows were just running at me. You've got a crossbow, just shoot me, damn it. They'll also chase you halfway across the map, which is interesting but infuriating. There's really no need for it. They need an aggro range. There needs to be a way to escape from those fights without just dying or teleporting somewhere. Now, the caves. The caves were disappointing. I really expected more from them and I was really excited to explore them as part of the feature. However, they were just lacking something. They were linear, there was only a couple of enemies, and the loot at the end was pretty lackluster and boring. As I said earlier, I'd really like for them to go in a more Skyrim direction with this, making the caves so much more dynamic, maybe more trap focused, and having ones you can do as a team. This would be super valuable, I think, because gearing up currently has no real use apart from to head north and fight mobs. But what if you had really high level caves with really rare gear that you can only get in said caves, that you need to be of this particular standard to go and get it? That could be a really interesting dynamic, and I really hope they take that on board and explore it. So, I've been talking a lot, and I like to try and keep these brief, so we're going to wrap it up here for today. All in all, my experience with Citadel Forged with Fire beta has been incredible, and I'm super excited for the release. I really enjoyed my time on the magical world of Ignis, and I can't wait to come back next weekend. What did you think of the video? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Did you think I went off topic a bit? I'd really love your comments and criticism on this. If you liked it, thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. If you want to see more, please subscribe. I'll be making a newbie gameplay tutorial for people getting into the beta next week. So with all that said, my name is Zagwitz. You guys have been great. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you next time.